Okay, guys, so today I want to talk to you guys about things that you should know before your spouse joins the military. I have a lot of friends whose spouses have joined the military lately, and I always get the question, what do I need to know before I start down this road? And my response is always, I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to give negative feedback, but then I also don't want them to think that it's going to be all fun and games. Because all of you ladies that have husbands in the military and are veteran spouses, you know it's not the easiest thing in the world. And people may praise it and say, you're going to have so much fun, it's so awesome, and I mean, it is. And there are times that you're going to have fun and it's awesome. But there are also times that you're going to say, what did I get myself into? This isn't as easy as I thought it was. This isn't what I saw on Army Wives. that's one that I get a lot. So I want to go over a couple of things that I kind of feel would be important to know before you start down this road of military life. I think one of the first important things that you need to know is that there is no certainty. The only thing that's really certain in the military is that your husband will get paid on the 1st and the 15th. And sometimes that's not always certain. Things get messed up, paperwork gets lost. Thank goodness we've been blessed to not have to deal with that so far. I've been a military wife for 3 years, and since we've been married, we haven't had any kind of finances get messed up or anything. So remember, nothing is certain in the military. Another thing that you guys, I think, need to know is no one can tell you when he or she is going to deploy. You may have questions, oh, my husband is going to this base. Do you think he's going to deploy when he gets there? How long do you think we're going to have after he leaves basic? Nobody can really give you those answers. Deployment is not a thing that you know, 2 years down the road, oh, he's going to deploy then. And the people that do know the answers to those questions, they're not going to be able to tell you. If they do, that will be a violation of OPSEC. And trust me, you're going to hear about OPSEC, which is the number 3 thing that I think that you guys need to know. OPSEC. Speaking of, loose lips sink ships. You are excited about him coming home, but don't go plastering it all over Facebook. You're going to have wives, if you do that are like, oh, OPSEC violator. And it's just so much easier and safer for your soldier to just kind of keep it to yourself. If you're doing a countdown, keep the countdown to yourself. Because you don't want people, saying, oh, OPSEC violator. And then you also want to keep your spouse safe. So if you are going to do a countdown, 1, don't put it on Facebook. And 2, I wouldn't tell people the exact time and date and location that your spouse is coming home. Because that's just not safe for you or your spouse. The 4th thing that I think that you guys should know is the military kind of comes first all the time. One thing that you'll hear spouses saying, my husband married the military. I am his mistress, the military is his wife. And there are going to be times that you feel like that. I know there are times that I feel like that. My husband is a recruiter, and sometimes I'm just like, wow, I feel like my husband is married to the military, and I never get to see him, but on the weekends. And you just gotta realize that your husband wants to see you, but he has an obligation to the military. That's what he signed up for, and unfortunately, that's just what you're gonna have to learn to deal with. The military gets all of his time most of the time, and we get whatever is left over. Deployment, field time, and TDYs can suck, but believe me, your husbands love you. The military does really come first, though. The 5th is you need to be independent. If you aren't already independent, then you're going to have to learn to be. Nothing's worse than being somewhere, a new place, and not knowing how to drive, not knowing how to do paperwork. And trust me, there is going to be a lot of paperwork. And if your husband's deployed, you're not going to be able to just call him up and say, hey, what's your social security number? Hey, what is, CDY mean? I mean, you're not going to be able to call him up and ask him that. You're going to have to know this yourself. If there's something that needs to be done around the house that you don't know how to do, you can't just wait for him to come home and do it for you. You need to learn how to do it yourself. Because marrying a military person, you're going to be alone a lot. Whether it be deployment for a year, whether it be him out in the field for 6 weeks, 4 weeks, you're going to be alone and you're going to need to know how to do things for yourself. Another thing, your spouse is in the military. You're not in the military. There's a saying that goes around a lot in the military. Wives who wear their husband's ranks. There are so many spouses who somehow believe that because their husband is a higher rank, that they receive some privileges from that. If you remember to stay in your lane, you will be okay. There are wives whose husbands are above yours, or whose husbands will be your husband's bosses, or sergeants, as some women like to call it. And as long as you remember that this woman is not your husband's sergeant, she is a wife just like you, you will be okay. And if there ever comes a time that your husband is the sergeant or the higher up, just remember how hard it was for your husband to be, private, and how hard it was for you to have to deal with women like that. There was a time, that my dad was a lower rank, and now that my husband is a higher rank, I remember what my mom had to go through. I remember her being so young and women wearing their husband's ranks. And one thing that you guys need to do, remember to stand up for yourself. It will be okay. If there is somebody who is thinking that they can push you around because you're young or your husband is a lower rank, make sure that they know that it is not okay with you and that she is a wife just like you are. She has nothing over you. I'm pretty sure your husband will understand. Another thing that I think is really important for us wives, maintain you and your goals. We give so much of ourselves to our military spouses, moving around everywhere, having to just pick up and go. But if there's anything that I have learned, it's not to forget that in the middle of all of this, I need to continue with my goals. Whether it be school, whether it be, getting a good job, whether it be, just getting my nails and my hair done. I need to maintain my goals. I need to maintain myself and do things for me. You have to remember to do things for yourself. It takes a little bit of the stress off to be able to go out and, have some time to yourself. Remember to make sure you take time for you and your husband also. I know the kids, you're always alone with the kids and it's stressful, your husband's always at work. You need to remember the successful military marriage is one that makes time for each other. There are a lot of marriages in the military that fail. And it's because the spouses don't make time for each other. Remember, dates, even if it's once a month, you need to go on dates. You need to remember why you fell in love with your spouse. That makes it so much easier. Alright guys, my child unfortunately is upstairs crying, so I'm going to have to end this. But if you guys liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also, if you haven't already subscribed, the subscribe button should be right here, somewhere in this general area. Go ahead and click the subscribe button and leave a comment down below. telling me what one piece of advice you would give to a new military spouse. Bye, guys.